Hello and welcome to Bignubnumismatics. Today I'm going to be discussing whether NGC Fatties or PCGS Rattlers are better or undergraded in the sense that you get more bang for your buck out of Fatties or the Rattlers. Now the NGC Fatty was used until 1995. The white labels were stopped in 1987, so you really have an 8-year gap between when these coins were slabbed and the barcode was added in 1992. So the no line, or they're all no lines, which refers to the line in the slab rather than the bar line. But coins like this were produced between 87 and 92. Rattlers were produced quite a long time, 3 years, 86 to 89, and then the early OGHs, the doilies, the 2.1s, and the 3.0s, something like this with the early label and the logo and sticker like that. Those were also produced until the mid-90s. So, my personal favorite is the Fatty. I think, on average, they have better quality coins in their holders. I think they're more consistent as well. MS64 Mercury dimes, for example, in PCGS Rattlers can look like just absolute stunning MS67s today, or they can look like just a 64. But NGC, I found in their fatty holders, there's really a lot. Not all of them are full point, but I'd say just on average, at least a 0.5 difference in the grades. Oops. One of the things you have to worry about with fatties, though, is the insert and the label tone the coins. So, a lot of times it can tone it well, or other times Mercury dimes that have been in bad environment that's reacting with the fatties, or war nickels especially. Be careful with war nickels. They will develop a really dark crust that is actually damage. And in terms of gold cacks and cacks, I've gotten a much higher percentage of gold cacks than rattlers, and a much higher percentage of green cacks to rattlers. So, you know, a coin like this, it's relatively easy to find in fatties, but I have a hard time actually finding good solid gold cacks in rattlers. The fatties aren't the only ones that have damage from being in the holder itself. A lot of times the rattlers will have PVC, and this is true even into the doily age. And most of the time they're sealed, but there's a good number that aren't perfectly sealed around the outside. So you can have lots of environmental damage And be careful if you're ever like rubbing out, you know, sticker residue or anything, because sometimes it can seep into the holder and damage the coin. But PVC is a huge issue. That's mainly what my coins come back from that don't cack. It's just a matter of PVC. And, you know, they were really made for a long time. I don't think the Rattler Premium is worth it. I might have a video on that as well. But especially considering that they also didn't... it's easier to cherry pick coins in NGC Fatties as well. If you take Franklin's, for example, the full bell lines weren't... they're not the same as PCGS. I do not have a Franklin, but on Franklin's at PCGS for full bell lines, you just need the my terrible drawing. You just need these two for PCGS. For NGC, you need these two, and you also need the three above to be completely full in order to get full bell lines. So you'll see a lot of fatty Franklins have really clear two lines, but pretty weak bell lines up here that will not get the full bell lines, even though they technically are. And you'll be able to cherry pick those just because they did have the designation at that time. It's not something like, you know, full torch on Roosevelt times. That wasn't until the late 90s. It's something that was developed so people and dealers who don't necessarily look at the coin inside the holder will overlook. And onto the design part, I much prefer just the aesthetics of a fatty versus a Rattler. They're much easier to store. When shipping, they're a lot more easy to handle. They don't get broken as easily. If you drop them, you don't really have to worry about them being broken. The label, however, is pretty easy to peel off, unfortunately. A lot of times, if dealers put a sticker over, or, I mean, even if you just slide it on the desk wrong, they'll get ripped off. So that's really something I hope everyone can stop doing, is putting stickers on the labels. There's not really a value difference, but certainly I'd rather have one with a full than a beaten up one. So let me know which holders you like better, whether aesthetically or what you've had more success in buying undergraded coins in Rattlers or Fatties. Thank you for watching the video.